a chilling African folktale set in Igbo land. Nigeria, the village of Umuaka and the woman who cooked with magic. In the heart of Igboland, nestled between thick forests and red earth footpaths, lay a quiet village called Umuaka. Life moved slowly there. The villagers farmed during the day, told folk tales under the moon, and respected the spirits of the ancestors who watched over them. At the edge of Umuaka lived an old widow named Mama Ifunanya. Her compound was simple, just a mud hut with a zinc roof and a backyard full of vegetables and herbs. But everyone knew her not just for her kindness, but for her legendary stew. People came from faraway towns to taste her cooking. There was something about her stew, thick, smoky, and spiced with a flavor that seemed to whisper stories into your bones. Many said it tasted like memory, like home, like something more than just food. But no one knew the origin of her secret. The night rain fell and the stranger came. It was on the first Thursday of the planting season, when the rain had just begun to wet the earth and the frogs had started singing again. That night, Mama Ifunanya was stirring her pot over firewood when she heard a knock at the gate. It was strange. No one ever visited that late, especially not in the rain. She opened the gate slowly. There stood a man in white, tall and silent. His eyes were sunken but kind. His skin was pale, as if it hadn't seen sunlight in years. He said nothing, just raised his hand slightly, pointing to the pot behind her. Hungry. Mama Ifunanya, startled, hesitated, but her heart, soft and generous, told her to feed him. She gave him a bowl of stew, and he ate slowly. The moment he finished, he stood, gave her a long look that chilled her, and walked back into the rain without a word. She didn't know then that her life had just changed forever. The spirits return, one by one. The next night, as she was washing her calabash bowls, she heard another knock. This time it was two strangers, a woman and a boy, both quiet, both pale, both strange. They too wanted stew. She gave it to them. They left. Then came the third night, and the fourth, and the fifth. By the seventh night, 5 silent figures stood at her gate, none speaking, none blinking, their feet bare, their eyes hollow, their bodies unnaturally still. She fed them, but she noticed something else. Where they sat, the ground stayed dry, even in the rain. Where they passed, the air grew cold, the firewood refused to crackle. By the 10th night, Mama Ifunanya knew they were not living Dajay the priest's warning. Terrified, she went to Dibia, the village priest. The old man listened carefully as she described the visits. He closed his eyes, shook a gourd filled with sacred seeds and said, "You have opened a gate, Ifunanya. That first man you fed was a spirit without peace. Your stew, cooked with kindness and whispered herbs, called to the world of the dead. They tasted it and remembered life. Now they want more." She asked, "What if I stop cooking?" Dibia looked at her gravely. "Then they will remind you why you shouldn't. The rules of the dead." That night she didn't cook. She locked her door. She put ashes over the hearth. She told herself it was over. But at midnight they came. Not at the gate this time. Her door. When she didn't answer, the knock became a pound. Her lamp went out. Her walls shook. Her calabashes shattered on the shelf. And then, she heard her late husband's voice. "Ifunanya, why have you forgotten us?" She screamed. She prayed. And when the morning came, the door was splintered, her floor was wet with muddy footprints, and the cooking pot had been set over fire, by no living hand, feeding the dead. So she cooked. Night after night, Mama Ifunanya prepared stew, now not with joy, but with trembling hands. She began using glowing seeds Dibia gave her, seeds that smoked purple when dropped in oil, seeds that helped bind the spirit world to the meal. As she cooked, she whispered chants, her lips dry with fear. And the spirits came. They sat on wooden stools that didn't creak. They ate without chewing. They vanished into mist when finished. Her neighbors began to whisper, "She's always cooking at midnight. I saw shadows in her compound that didn't touch the ground. Is she a witch?" But no one dared confront her. After a year of this haunting routine, Mama Ifunanya grew weak. Her bones ached, her eyes sunk into her skull. She couldn't take it anymore. She buried her cooking pot. She poured salt and hot ash over the fire pit. She said aloud, "I am done feeding the dead." That night silence reigned. Until exactly midnight. There was no knock this time. The door swung open on its own. They came in, walking in slowly, one by one. Their faces were no longer kind. They were skeletal, angry, hungry. The tall man, the first visitor, stepped forward and whispered, "You fed us love. You can't take it back." Then they touched her hands. She screamed. Her hands glowed red-hot like fire. Her arms trembled uncontrollably. When she woke up the next morning, her hands had been fused in the shape of a spoon, and the cooking pot she buried was back on the hearth, bubbling. From that day, Mama Ifunanya could no longer leave her house. She cooked day and night, even when she didn't want to. Children in the village said they heard her crying behind the compound fence. Some nights, the stew pot cooked by itself. Some swore that if you passed her compound at midnight, you'd see a long line of shadows, all waiting, all hungry. Years passed. Mama Ifunanya never died. Some say she's still alive, trapped in that hut cooking for the dead. Others say the spirits finally took her, but her hands, still fused in the shape of service, cook from beyond. Dibia was asked once by a traveler, "Why didn't you help her?" He said, "Because kindness is powerful, even to the dead. But every power comes with a price. So if one rainy night, you hear a knock at your door, and a stranger stands there silently, pointing to your pot, be careful, because once you feed the dead, they will never forget the taste, and they may never let you stop." End.